Listen closely. Not later. Not after this moment. Right now. There is a presence near you that does not sleep, does not blink, does not look away. And tonight, it is closer than it has ever been. Archangel Michael is watching. Not with fear, not with anger, but with urgency. You didn't click this by accident. You felt a pull, a quiet pressure in your chest. A thought that said, open this now. That wasn't curiosity. That was protection activating. There is one man in your life, not necessarily loud, not obviously harmful, not clearly wrong, yet every time his name crosses your mind, something inside you tightens. That feeling is not imagination. It is discernment. Archangel Michael does not interrupt lives without reason. He does not whisper warnings unless a line is being crossed. And right now, a boundary meant to keep you safe is being tested. This man does not need to hurt you to be dangerous to your destiny. He only needs to delay you, drain you, distract you. You may have told yourself, it's not that bad. You may have tried to justify his presence. You may have said, I can handle this. But here is the truth most people never hear until it's too late. Some connections are not meant to destroy you directly. They are meant to slowly disconnect you from who you are becoming. Archangel Michael sees what you cannot see yet. He sees the version of you that exists just beyond this season. Stronger, clearer, finally aligned. And he sees exactly who stands too close to that future. This is why the warning feels sudden. This is why the message feels intense. This is why your heart is beating differently right now. Because delay would cost you something precious. You are not weak for caring. You are not foolish for hoping. But you are being asked, firmly, to choose clarity over comfort. This man feeds on your patience, on your silence, on your willingness to give one more chance. And every time you do, something within you grows quieter. Michael's presence is not here to scare you. It is here to remind you of your authority. You were never meant to shrink to keep someone else comfortable. You were never meant to explain your intuition away. You were never meant to stay where your spirit feels heavy. If you feel tired after interacting with him, that is a sign. If your clarity fades around him, that is a sign. If you feel smaller, slower, or less certain when he is near, that is a sign. Protection doesn't always look like rescue. Sometimes it looks like distance. And tonight, distance is being requested. Not tomorrow. Not after one more conversation. Not after one more promise. Now, there is something ahead of you, something clean, steady, and real, that cannot reach you while this man still has access to your energy. Archangel Michael stands at the threshold of that future, sword lowered but ready, waiting for your decision. This is not about drama. This is not about blame. This is about alignment. And the moment you choose yourself, the pressure you've been carrying will begin to lift. Stay with this message. Because what you are about to understand next will explain why this connection appeared in the first place, and what must happen immediately after you step away. Do not rush. Do not close this. Everything is about to connect. Before you move forward, pause for one breath. Because what you are about to hear is the part most people miss. The reason this man entered your life at all. He was never meant to stay. He was a mirror. Some people arrive not to walk with us, but to reveal what we still tolerate, what we still excuse, what we still fear losing. Archangel Michael allowed this connection for one purpose only, to wake your discernment. This man reflects an old pattern, the part of you that gives, that waits for potential instead of reality, that explains away discomfort to preserve peace. Michael sees how often you choose understanding over truth. And understand this clearly now. Compassion without boundaries becomes a door. That door has been open too long. This is why your dreams have felt strange, why your focus drifts, Why momentum slows right when you're close to a breakthrough. Energy does not disappear. It gets redirected. And someone in your space has been pulling from you without realizing it, or without stopping. This does not make him evil, but it does make him incompatible. Archangel Michael's protection is precise. He removes what blocks growth, not what flatters comfort. Here is what most people never hear. When a divine warning repeats, it's because the soul already agreed. Your spirit has been signaling for distance long before this message found you. You just needed confirmation strong enough to trust yourself. That's why this feels personal. That's why these words feel like they're speaking to you, not at you. You are not being asked to argue. You are not being asked to explain. You are not being asked to convince anyone of your truth. Silence can be a boundary. Absence can be an answer. Michael does not demand confrontation. He asks for clarity. The moment you stop engaging, something shifts. Not outside, inside. Peace begins returning in small waves. Sleep changes. Thoughts sharpen. Confidence steadies. And people who truly belong to your next chapter will recognize you immediately, because you will no longer be dimmed. If this message resonates deeply, let it echo beyond you. Someone else may be standing at the same edge, waiting for the same clarity. Shared truth multiplies protection. And as you remain here, attentive and present, know this: every moment you stay aligned strengthens the shield around you. In the next part, you will understand what happens the moment you step away, and why the resistance you feel is actually the final confirmation. Stay here. This is where the turning point begins. Something already shifted the moment you chose to keep listening. That subtle calm you can't fully explain, that is not relief. That is alignment beginning. Now listen carefully, because this is where confusion dissolves. The resistance you feel toward stepping away from this man is not love. It is familiarity. Familiarity is powerful. It convinces you that discomfort is normal, that heaviness is loyalty, that staying is strength. But Archangel Michael does not measure strength by endurance. He measures it by truth. This is why the pull feels conflicting. One part of you remembers who you were before this connection. Another part fears the quiet that will come after it ends. But here is what Michael reveals clearly: the quiet is not emptiness. It is space. Space is where clarity returns. Space is where direction speaks. Space is where the next door opens. This man filled space that was meant for growth. Not because you failed, but because you were still learning your worth. And learning ends now. You may wonder why the warning feels so specific, so targeted, so immediate. That's because timing matters more than intention. Staying longer would blur your intuition just enough to delay what's already moving toward you. Yes, something is moving toward you, but it cannot approach while your energy remains divided. Michael's presence sharpens truth. He cuts confusion cleanly, without cruelty, without noise. That sword you hear spoken of is not violence, it is clarity that does not hesitate. And clarity has arrived. You are allowed to outgrow people who once felt important. You are allowed to leave without a dramatic ending. You are allowed to choose peace without explanation. Notice how your body reacts to that permission. That reaction is your answer. There will be a moment, very soon, when this man reaches out, directly or indirectly. Not by coincidence, by sensing the shift. People feel when access is closing. When that moment comes, you will not need new words. Your calm will speak. Your restraint will speak. Your absence will speak. And something powerful will happen immediately after. Something that feels like relief, but deeper. A return. As if a part of you steps back into place. In the next part, you will understand why this separation activates protection around every other area of your life, and why Archangel Michael does not intervene like this twice. Stay present. You are closer than you think. This is the moment where protection becomes visible. Not dramatic, not loud, but undeniable. When you step away, truly step away, something rearranges itself around you. Conversations change, delays dissolve, opportunities that felt stalled begin to move without force. This is not coincidence. Archangel Michael does not remove one influence without reinforcing everything else. Here is what happens immediately after the separation. Your intuition sharpens. Decisions feel simpler. You stop guessing what your spirit already knows. That mental fog you thought was stress, it lifts. The exhaustion you blamed on responsibility, it fades, because what was draining you was not life, it was misalignment. Michael's protection works like a seal. Once closed, what does not belong cannot re-enter without your permission. And right now, you are reclaiming authority you gave away slowly, quietly, without realizing it. This man had access because you are generous with energy. But generosity without discernment invites imbalance. And imbalance attracts lessons. The lesson has been learned. That is why this message feels final, not threatening, not harsh, just complete. You may notice guilt try to rise. You may feel a tug to explain yourself, to soften the distance, to make it comfortable for him. Do not confuse kindness with self-betrayal. Michael does not ask you to harm anyone. He asks you to stop harming yourself by staying where clarity disappears. Once the separation settles, something unexpected happens. You feel watched, but not in fear. Watched in protection. As if something stands between you and what no longer has permission to reach you. That presence will remain as long as you remain honest with yourself. And here is the truth that seals this message. Archangel Michael intervenes only when a turning point cannot be delayed. This was not a suggestion. It was a safeguard. What comes next for you requires focus, strength, and clean energy. You are entering a chapter where distractions become costly, and clarity becomes power. In the next part, you will understand what replaces what you let go, and why letting go now creates space for something far greater than you expected. Stay here. The final confirmation is close. Now listen with stillness, because this is where reassurance arrives. When you let go of what does not belong, you do not fall into emptiness. You step into alignment. And alignment responds quickly. The space created by your decision does not remain open for long. Something begins to approach, not rushed, not chaotic, not draining. It feels calm, steady, grounded. It does not demand your energy. It respects it. This is how you will know the difference. Archangel Michael does not remove one presence without allowing another to draw nearer, one that matches who you are becoming, not who you used to be. You may feel a quiet confidence return, a sense of direction without pressure, a clarity that does not need validation. That is replacement without struggle. The man you stepped away from occupied space with noise, emotional noise, mental noise, energetic noise. What comes next arrives without disruption. And here is something important to understand. You were not protected from love. You were protected for it. But love that aligns does not confuse you. It does not make you doubt your worth. It does not pull you away from yourself. It feels safe without being dull. It feels strong without being controlling. This message is not promising fantasy. It is revealing readiness. Michael's watch does not end at separation, it intensifies during transition. The moment between release and renewal is when protection matters most. That is why you are being reminded now, do not reopen what was closed. Do not engage out of habit. Do not revisit old patterns dressed as concern. What is meant for you will not require you to go backward. Notice how your breath feels lighter as you hear this. That is your spirit recognizing truth. In the next part, you will understand how to remain protected going forward, without fear, without vigilance, without struggle. Stay here. You are learning how to move forward untouched. There is one final layer you must understand, because protection is not meant to be temporary. Archangel Michael does not stand guard only once. He teaches you how to guard yourself. What happened with this man was not an isolated event. It was a pattern reaching its end. And endings only stay complete when awareness replaces habit. Here is the quiet truth. Protection is maintained through discernment, not avoidance. You do not need walls. You do not need suspicion. You do not need fear. You need clarity. Clarity sounds like this: if my peace weakens around you, you cannot stay. If my intuition grows quiet with you, you cannot lead. If I feel smaller after connection, this is not alignment. Michael's influence sharpens these signals so you no longer question them. From this point forward, you will notice subtle things sooner. A hesitation, a heaviness, a pull that doesn't feel right. And instead of overriding it, you will pause. That pause is protection. This is how cycles stop repeating. You are not meant to analyze people endlessly. You are meant to feel truth quickly and act calmly. And now, something important: do not expect closure from the man you stepped away from. Closure comes from alignment, not agreement. You may never receive understanding from him, and you do not need it. The clarity you feel now is the only confirmation required. Archangel Michael's watch remains active as long as you remain honest with yourself. Not perfect, honest. You will not lose love by choosing yourself. You will not lose opportunity by honoring your intuition. You will not lose connection by refusing misalignment. You only lose weight you were never meant to carry. Take a breath and notice how still this moment feels. That stillness is not emptiness. It is protection settled into place. This chapter is complete. Move forward without urgency, without explanation, without looking back. You are watched, you are guided, and you are free. Before you move on with your life, there is one last truth that must settle quietly inside you. Not loudly, not emotionally, but deeply. Archangel Michael does not intervene to control your path. He intervenes to return you to it. What you just experienced was not loss. It was restoration. When someone is removed from your energy field, it can feel unfamiliar at first, like a limb that is no longer tense after years of strain. The calm may surprise you. The silence may feel strange. Do not misinterpret that silence. Silence is where your strength returns. You will notice that you no longer feel the urge to check, to wonder, to replay conversations. The mind releases what the spirit no longer carries. That is how you know the separation was correct. If doubt appears, it will be brief. If nostalgia rises, it will pass. If memories surface, they will no longer pull you backward, because the bond has already loosened. Michael's presence does not linger as fear, it settles as confidence. You may not think about this message tomorrow, but you will live differently because of it. You will hesitate less. You will trust yourself faster. You will no longer stay where your energy is questioned. This is the mark of protection done properly. And here is the final reassurance your heart needs: nothing meant for you was lost. Nothing aligned with your future was removed. Nothing true was taken away. Only what could not walk with you into the next chapter stepped aside. You do not need to announce this change. You do not need to defend it. You do not need to explain it. Your life will speak for you. Walk forward calmly. Choose peace without guilt. Honor clarity without apology. You are no longer standing at the threshold. You have crossed it. Now something subtle begins to unfold. Not outside of you, within you. After protection comes awareness. You will start noticing how often you once ignored your inner signals just to keep harmony with others. How often you stayed quiet when something felt off. How often you carried responsibility that was never yours. This awareness is not meant to bring regret. It is meant to bring precision. Archangel Michael sharpens perception so the past does not repeat itself in a new form. From this moment on, you will recognize patterns early, not with suspicion, but with calm certainty. You will feel when a conversation is draining before it drains you. You will sense when someone is leaning instead of standing beside you. You will know when kindness is being mistaken for availability. And instead of explaining yourself, you will simply adjust. This is power without force. Do not be surprised if some people drift naturally. Not in conflict. Not in drama. Just distance. Distance is not punishment. It is alignment correcting itself. What remains will feel lighter, cleaner, more mutual. You may even feel a quiet gratitude toward the man you stepped away from, not because he was right for you, but because the lesson is complete. Completion brings peace, and peace creates momentum. Very soon, you will notice small confirmations, a timely message, a decision that feels effortless, a moment where you realize you are no longer carrying weight you once thought was normal. That is how protection continues, through ease. Archangel Michael does not surround you with fear to keep you safe. He surrounds you with clarity so you no longer need rescuing. Let this settle. You are not becoming colder. You are becoming clearer. And clarity changes everything that comes next. There is a calm certainty now, the kind that does not announce itself. This is where true protection matures. You will notice that you are no longer waiting for signs the way you once did. Not because guidance has stopped, but because your inner alignment has strengthened. The need for constant reassurance fades when truth becomes familiar. Archangel Michael's influence at this stage feels quiet but firm. Like a steady hand at your back, not pushing, just ensuring you don't drift. Here is what this means for your life moving forward. You will no longer confuse intensity with importance. You will no longer mistake attention for connection. You will no longer hold space for those who cannot meet you fully. And when someone new appears, because someone will, you will not rush. You will observe how your energy responds. You will listen to your body before your thoughts. That is discernment in action. What once took months to realize will now take moments. This is how cycles truly end. You may look back one day and wonder why this lesson felt so significant, so marked, so protected. The answer is simple. It was the final gate before expansion. Certain levels of growth require clean exits. No loose ties. No emotional residue. No unresolved confusion.